What do you think, Mommy? What's so funny? Get in the back seat, Miss Daisy. What is so funny?
You kidding me?
I don't know what the hell Mom thought was so funny, because the Crown is no joke, my friends. This is a 25-year-old Toyota Crown that I imported from Japan for about $5,000. It's got a fridge in the back seat, an air purifier in the cabin, and a Toyota Supra engine under the hood. This is the Toyota Crown. And unless you've been to Japan, you've probably never seen one before, but that's exactly what makes it worth talking about. My first trip to the land of the rising sun was in 2023, and my very first taxi ride was in a Crown, and that's when I knew that I had to have one. The Toyota Crown has been around since 1955, almost as long as Toyota's been building cars. It was their first true passenger car built entirely in-house. At a time in post-war Japan where most of the roads were still gravel and the auto industry was rebuilding from scratch, Toyota launched the first generation of this weirdly dignified sedan. It had suicide doors, column shifters, 1.5-liter engines that wheezed out 48 horsepower, but these cars were reliable, comfortable, and aimed squarely at professionals. And it didn't take long for Toyota to realize they were really onto something. The Crown evolved with every decade, growing bigger, smoother, more refined, more luxurious. They started adding straight-six engines, independent suspension, early automatic transmissions, even air conditioning by the 70s. Huge flex at the time. They weren't just building a car, they were building an image, a symbol of progress, of status, and it worked. The Crown became Japan's go-to car for politicians, company executives, police chiefs, even Yakuza bosses, anyone who mattered. In places like Singapore and Indonesia, the Crown wasn't just for executives, it was used in presidential convoys. The Crown has carried cabinet ministers, governors, heads of state, especially across Southeast Asia. While many European countries favor Mercedes for show, Japan and its neighbors wear the Crown. And if the Crown was the king, Toyota made a royal family around it. The Corona, Latin for crown. Camry comes from Konmari, Japanese for crown. Even the Corolla, Latin for little crown. The Crown was the flagship of Toyota's lineup and its reputation. We're not counting the Century here, this boutique automobile, a breed of its own. By the time we get to the 11th generation in late 1999, which is what I'm driving here, the Crown had been through more redesigns than the Mercedes S-Class, but it never really left Japan. And this one, the JZS 175 Royal Saloon, represents the final era of the old-school Crown. Rear-wheel drive, a 2JZ engine shared with the Toyota Supra under the hood, a car built for comfort over everything right before Toyota started blending it into the Lexus DNA. As is common with JDM luxury cars, the Crown came in a few different flavors. You had the standard Crown sedan, the Crown Comfort. These were more conservative, often used as taxis, but still comfy as hell. There's the Athlete, which was the sportier trim, lower, firmer suspension, some with twin turbocharged 1JZs under the hood, but the top of the line was this, the Royal Saloon, the best Toyota had to offer before crossing into Century territory. This is the Mac Daddy trim. Leather or thick velour upholstery, optional air suspension, soft closed doors, a refrigerator, backseat footrests. Unlike the Century, which is more of a limo to be driven in, it's perfectly appropriate to own this car as a driver or be driven around as a passenger. I asked my buddy Aaron Ross of Bulldog Auto Japan, the man who purchased this and exported this car for me, what the Japanese and car exporters think of the Crown.
Toyota Crown is a pretty long historic vehicle. I think they originally came out in the mid-50s.
Yep, 1955.
And it kind of became their flagship sedan. Pretty prolific machines. They were used as police vehicles, tons and tons of taxi vehicles over many, many decades. And they range from anywhere from basic taxi machines up to pretty luxurious cars that people use as like VIP sedans, limo type things. Executives would drive around in them, and anything in between.
Yeah, who buys one? Who buys one in Japan?
Usually a man of distinguished tastes. Sometimes a penchant for cigarettes, provocative women.
Yeah, sure.
The Crown was kind of Toyota's main luxurious type normal passenger car. Of course, there's a Century, but that's more of like a
You
limo
get
type.
driven in a Century.
Yeah, that's more of like a Rolls Royce,
Right.
for a Japanese car. So the Crown was kind of the pinnacle of Japanese, luxury, quiet, before the Lexus line kind of became a thing, and they ran parallel, and they still kind of do. Super luxurious. They came in many different trim levels, many different engine types, and they range from pretty basic Spartan type, what they would use for taxis and things, up to, as you see here, pretty swanky top of the line trim level with lace interior and all sorts of funky high-tech accoutrements that were really ahead of their times.
Love that word.
Accoutrements.
Yeah, and we've got a whole ton of them in this thing. Like, we're going to go over the bag of tricks a little bit later in this video.
The Crown Royal bag.
Yeah, if you will. The Toyota Crown, it's safe to say, is still a bit of a status symbol.
Obviously, taxis they're a little bit more Spartan. You don't have as many of the accessory type of things on the inside. It's more basic. But this one here has a lot of that extra stuff for somebody that wants to enjoy a little bit more comfort, a little bit more luxury. It's a very, I would say, a flexible vehicle, but they ran the gamut from pretty utilitarian, machines up to sports cars,
Right.
sort of.
First time I saw a Toyota Crown in Japan, and I rode in the taxi, and when they pull up, I think I got a video, when they pull up, both the doors pop up, and I'm like, oh, and they look a little bit like a Mercedes, a Lexus. Like, that's what these look like. So I'm like, man, these are good looking cars. We've been stopped driving this thing around. People are like, what in the hell is that? And even some college kids at spring break here in Pensacola Beach, there were some college kids that stopped us. They were like, man, this is what is that?
Yeah,
like,
what is
they,
that?
they were like, is that a Rolls Royce? They legitimately asked, is that
Bro,
a
my
Rolls Royce?
girl's over there.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. Do you export a lot of these? They're very popular in Japan, but I would think you don't export a lot.
In this type of segment, you have a lot of type of cars that came to the U.S., right? I mean, you already have, Camrys and different Lexuses and Nissans and Infinitis and Acuras, sedans. There's nothing overtly unique about it.
Is it more reliable than, say, a comparable German vehicle?
I would say definitely reliability would be higher than a comparable German, and parts replacement across the board, Japanese cars are cheaper to maintain than German cars.
I think these are totally underrated, and these are really cheap. I mean, I can get a really good example for how much delivered.
I mean, it's going to depend on the model. Turbocharged models demand a bit more of a premium, but just sort of a basic naturally aspirated one like this with a 3-liter inline 6, you're probably looking at 800,000 Japanese yen.
Which is how much in U.S.?
$5,500, I guess. Something like that.
$5
roughly.
to $6,000. You can get this in this kind of shape for less than $6,000.
Yeah. And
To me, it's just insane.
But what's it like to actually drive?
The Crown Victoria is a piece of shit compared to this car. Got that Supra engine in here. Oh, dude, we did that right in front of a park ranger. We're about to
Suck my testicles into my chest.
it's pretty zippy. I mean, look, man, it's not super fast, but 200 and something horsepower, 200 and something foot-pounds of torque with the Toyota Supra engine. Again, the more economical version, but it's got power. To me, this is like riding in first class. Seriously, I mean that almost literally. Like, the seats are very comfortable. You can recline them. The air conditioning's cold. You've got the dual zone. The wood looks great. The leather feels good. Everyone we pass looks at this car. It might look a little conservative, especially with the doily lacy panties back here. But what was that R. Kelly album? Black Silk Panties? But with this, sure, it looks a little conservative, but this model with the ground effects and with the bumper and with the spoiler and the fact that you're right-hand drive, this is a clean looking car, and something about it looks different. It looks luxurious. Is it the sportiest JDM car you can buy? No, but at the same time, you can get this for a tenth of the price of like a really nice Skyline, like R34 or R33 or something. This is a really, really nice vehicle. It's great to drive. and hopefully we don't get pulled over by the park rangers to see the cop turning around back there.
Call me James Aladdin Reeves II Esquire, because this thing is like a magic carpet. This car rides on double wishbone suspension front and rear, something you usually only found in serious luxury sedans or sports cars. It glides over pavement effortlessly and silently thanks to its adjustable suspension and obsessive sound insulation. Acoustic glass, dense double door seals, thick carpets, and sound deadener packed into the body. When you close the door, you get that big dollar thunk. And once you're moving, the cabin goes quieter than a church mouse sneaking into bed with his sleeping mouse wife after closing down the bar where all the college co-ed mice are. You don't hear wind, you don't hear the road, you only hear the pounding of your sake-induced hangover headache. This car is so acoustically good that I'm filming this voiceover from the back seat right now. Power comes from the 2JZ FSE engine, which is Toyota's direct injected version of the Supra's inline six. No turbo in the Royal Saloon, but if you're an upscale Vin Diesel, you can be the class and the furious in the turbocharged Crown Athlete. But even the economical 2JC in the Crown is smooth while pushing about 220 horsepower, about the same in foot-pounds of torque. Royal Saloons like mine could have a factory refrigerator in the rear armrest, a built-in air purifier, rear seat audio controls, rear seat switches to move the front seats forward, an electric rear sunshade, reclining rear bench seats, and even a powered ottoman that lets passengers prop up their feet like they're flying first class. Mine has all of these options except for the ottoman, and honestly at that point it's just silly. Aaron gave us a tour of this living room on wheels.
We're just gonna have a quick look through James's Crown, show you some of the interesting features that this has. All your normal power window controls and everything. This also has electronic telescoping tilt, steering, leather steering wheel, wood accents on it, little Crown logo in the steering wheel. Just gonna fire this thing up, key on, steering wheel, little Crown logo comes up there. All your shift indicators, everything up there on the screen. Right here you can change the display. It goes from everything's digital in this, so you have a standard meter type gauge, and you can have it just digitally like there as well, so that's pretty neat. You can change. If you take a look over here, if you can catch this, these vents are oscillating. You see that? You see it moving? Super neat. You don't really see that on cars in this generation, but the Crown was certainly ahead of its time, and you can turn that off if you want here. This model was one of the first factory models that had standard navigation in it. Obviously, it still thinks we're stuck in the middle of Tokyo because it's not updated or anything, but touchscreen, that was pretty ahead of its time for 2000. That's 25 years ago. Dual climate control. All that was standard 25 years ago. It's quite nice. This one here is super, very clean. That's a lot of supers and that's a lot of varies. But you can look sometimes in these cars, little giveaways that kind of tell you how clean they are. The ashtray was never been used. The cigarette lighter has no signs at all of being used, so it wasn't a smoker's car or anything. The wood in this is absolutely phenomenal. A lot of cars with this type of wood, from heat and just age, you'll get cracks and things in it. This has absolutely flawless wood, even on the door panels, on the dash, which sometimes gets some extra heat. Super shiny, super clean. There's the DVD slot for the navigation. But check this out. They were living in the future back then. 6-disc in-dash CD changer with a cassette deck, so you can put in Sade for that date night, whatever you want. Some buttons and things here that you have, for the electronic controlled transmission, power, snow mode, sport mode for the suspension, traction control off, and one of the sweetest things on this Crown, it has a electric rear sunshade. So you see the button there. So you're getting a little frisky with your girl in the back seat at the drive-in, and a little handsy in the back, want a little privacy. There you go. Yeah, so these lacy things kind of serve two purposes, I suppose. They're there for aesthetic, to try to make it look cooler, look more luxurious, but it also kind of saves the seat, maybe your hair product, your pomade getting on the seat or whatnot. But I think mostly it's there for aesthetics. And you do have some electric controls in this passenger seat. I don't think you can see it, but you can. Moves the seat forward, back, and you can do that from here as well. I think the reason they have it on the seat, to be honest, is if you're in the back, you're a back passenger and you need more room, you can just control it from the back. But they also have controls on the side as well. So if you're getting driven by somebody and you're like, who put this damn seat back, you can just adjust it. So we're here in the back now. Little bit of a grab handle here. Pockets, just like you'd have like in an airplane. I guess a lot of cars have that sort of thing as well, but they're pretty nice. Look at this. So in the back seat of this thing, you can operate the shade, all the electric controls for the air conditioning. It's got a rear AC air purifier, which is pretty high tech for 25 years ago. All the audio and everything can be changed back here. So these were not meant really for children and things riding in the back. These things are aimed at adults, executives, people that wanted control of all the infotainment and all the things that a car like this had to offer. Look at that, more lace, more storage, power outlet in the back, which pretty neat for 25 years ago. Some of these ones I believe had cool boxes in the back where you could store the cans of drinks or something. The air conditioning would keep those cool. But here you have the controls. Check this out. They have reclining rear seats. A little bit hard to tell, I guess, but you had a hard day at the office, you want to kick back, have a little bit of rest, you're in transit somewhere, you can recline the rear seats, which is not super common. This one does have the cool can.
No way.
Right there. Put your hand in there. Put your hand in there.
Oh my God.
It's got it. I thought it was up
Holy
here.
shit.
I thought it was up here. Initially, you look at this and go, oh, this is a little pass-through to the rear trunk. No, sir. This is the cool box. So you can use it for canned drinks, but avoid placing any food that might go bad or smell. Right there. Check it out. And you put your hand in there and it's cold. Super neat. I mean, this thing is, was produced in like 99. This is a 25-year-old car. I mean, awesome for the time.
What a classy ass car.
Awesome.
Now, I bought this car to flip it, but I'm not so sure anymore. This car is easy to fall in love with, and it's been my wife's favorite car of any automobile I've ever owned. It's not a quirky JDM luxury barge. It's a charming, reliable, fun, and even handsome sedan. A little sporty, too. The Germans might have built tighter handlers, but they never built something this soft, this quiet, this well-mannered without slapping on a 5- or 6-figure maintenance bill after 25 years of ownership. My stepdad, Alan Butch Bookman, was a hardcore Mercedes guy. He owned every E-Class from 2000 until the day he died. I've spent decades riding in and driving those cars. And honestly, I think Big Al's rolling a Crown like this one in heaven. It's more comfortable, it's quieter, and more importantly, it's more reliable. And it cost me $5,000. So while other people are out there chasing sub $10,000 clapped out Audis and Beamers with check engine lights and interiors that smell like cigarette smoke and little trees, I'm pushing a mint condition, plush Japanese mobile ryokan with the doily seats. And cold Sapporos in the back, and a 2JZ under the hood. This car is better than, cheaper than, more reliable than its German counterparts, which is why the Crown is king.